Welcome to the audiobook of Strings of Shining Silence, Earth Love Poems by Raphael Block. You'll hear 64 poems and the Occidental Community Choir singing Strings of Shining Silence, composed by John Maas, and one or two other surprises. You can find the book on my website, raphaelblock.com. Please enjoy. Thank you.
To her loveliness. Each crinkly leaf, each trailing yellow shamrock or clover crown, each swallow swoop, floating spore, canopy of thousands dancing to the wind, each set of see-through humming wings, bright spiked shoot, open-throated quaver, each fledgling oak tottering on its slender stem, each scarlet neckband draped round golden poppy, each pair of gold-rimmed coupling beetles, sunbathing mottled rock, swan-winged scented iris, binds us to your loveliness, binds us to your loveliness. Blue Moon. The moon came to sip dew at my table, and liking it stayed a while. Soon she slipped into a nearby puddle to dip and bathe, bending the trees with her glory. The cat, desperate to join this lunar party, caterwauled like crazy, until I padded up to grant his wish. He sprinted towards her silvery sheen, only to find she had whisked back up into the sky, leaving us both behind to yowl and bay. Bearded iris. Searing brown and white-striped zebras gallop across petaled plains, intercepted by a golden mane. Ah, the scent! One small black beetle foraging in pollen heaven rolls onto rich purple veins. Dewdrops cling to a threesome of dorsal wings sheltering a whirl of whelps. Tightly wrapped buds twin to long green stems crouch and leap in pride from pointed leaves, their den laid in muck's mysteries. Violet-drenched tracks tail away into cupped, translucent skins. Queen Anne's lace. Summer nebulae open all over the meadows and roadsides. White star clusters fade in waves, folding into soft-sided cups filled with a bounty of beetle-like seeds. Bunched ribs and hoops unfurl by slow degrees into open arms, their legacy ready, like mine, to leap out of its nest, fly with a gust, cling to any passer-by. Dripping grace. My ears fill with dripping dancing drops, although it's June in California. The light grey sky without a break drapes over redwood peaks and oaks. A whisper of leaves among red-leafed plum, catkin strands, wild swaying oats, rain-soaked dark and dear. A whisper of leaves among red-leafed plum, catkin strands, wild swaying oats, rain-soaked dark and dear. Come to the shore. Mighty ebb and surge flings flat fish with jutting ribs among kelp bouquets sprawling on the sands, bound by fine green strands to common snipes piping ancient songs in a round of spindly legs and juddering beaks jabbing at a feast. Wild waves roar, charge up secret passageways, cascading into creatured pools and spiraling withdraw. Drizzling mist releases swirling tabla rhythms. Ta-tiki-ta, ta-tiki-ta, tiki-ta-ta, tiki-ta-ta. Cones tilt like crows at rest. Sway in moist-dewn pines, updrafts sweeten and purge, until my mind's return urges me to swoop and hunt for that which can't be tracked. Autumn hollows. Flash of white-tailed deer, scudding hooves. I veer down a track past a clean-picked skeleton, furred torso almost intact, its hollow-ribbed cavity filling with a drift of acorns and oak leaves. Again we meet, three does and I freeze, holding each other with softly melting eyes. Song Original. When the sun rays of the night first caress the insides of my body, waking me from thick wooded slumber, faint notes begin to surge within my sap. They swarm through my veins, vibrating with the eddying air. My roots stir to the strain of chords dying to dance. My branches sway, while out of my crown issue clear resonating sounds. The silent pulse of unfurling leaves, high-pitched melodies in an ancient tongue that know my name, that know each atom of my being, so sweet and wounding. All night I revel, abandoned to its might, even while my knotted trunk harbours a secret fear. All through that day I marvel, yet before 3 full moons steal over my limbs, dewy mists dim my remembrance. Weighted by pelting rains, blinding gales, dark snows, countless weathered seasons, one star-filled sky, a slivered moon slides down a beam, splintering my being. My screams tear at the frenzied air, until high-pitched notes, driven deep within, gush out, echoing in rippling pools. In all you are and do, my ancient song sings you. In all you are and do, my ancient song sings you. Waylaid. Startled, The stag and his does bolt under silhouetted firs and across lowering clouds hunched on the horizon. Meowing, a cat rubs against my legs. As I bend low to stroke her, the last birdsong gives way to a tidal cricket orchestra. A star spills out from a crack of sky. I trudge uphill engulfed by bristling worries until the rising sonorous tide snaps me back once more. Clouds vanish, stars skip out to dance, a firefly plane noses its way into the silence. Lizard. Sweep of tail, bulge of red-brown body, webbed feet planted firmly, eyes warily watching all degrees. How zippily you dart into a rustle of leaves. Come again to bathe in the sun with me. Come again to bathe in the sun with me. The violinist. Locks jiggle, Mustang manes field ripple, fiddle rears. Whistling owls trace inky skies, wood elves prance, leap fingerboard. Long-held voices vault out of vast rounded vessel, sail haunting pipes, mouth harp snatches. Earth's deep sorrow well swells into its ancient gut-warm pith. Her bow skip bounces over string slides. Torso reels, feet rock planted, newborn cries. Strings of shining silence. When shadows lengthen, our breaths grow closer, and bundled bodies huddle against drizzle, slanting snow and rain. To warmth we turn, the nearness of a cello heartbeat. Strings of shining silence fill my chest with crimson tones. Each in-breath spins me into soundness, while with each outward rush of air, though winds may shriek and squall, clouds flash and crack, shafts of sunlight somehow slip through my being and unfold. Doesn't everything sing when we have ears? If you seek subtlety, watch the seahorse tips of a fern uncurl. If you want magic, gaze at a full-blown dandelion head and puff like the child you are and were. If you need complexity, find hazel leaves and contrast and compare. If you treasure praise, why there are the coral bells appealing by the road's edge. If majesty is your heart's desire, look up the jeweled bark of a Douglas fir. If you seek humility, the large-leaf dock, rescuer for stings and wounds, sits quietly there. If you need adventure, venture into poison oak trails and mark your way without fear. If you crave ecstasy, Let full-throated warblers ring throughout your orchard. Wild white stars of cucumber vines are waving to enter your open-gated garden. Wild white stars are waving to enter your open-gated garden. The London Tinker. His clanging bell rouses the neighbourhood, while his hoarse bellows drown the clip-clopping of his companion. Any old iron, scrap for sale, any old iron, scrap for sale. Following in his wake black leaden whispered tales of stripped roofs, gutter pipes, empty houses laid bare. We never knew when his cacophonous cry would next be heard. Now heaters, blenders, broken down toasters spill into the street. Nobody to pick up, no one to collect. Dump, landfill overwhelmed. Rusting car carcasses pile in ditches. Any old iron, scrap for sale, any old iron, scrap for sale. His echoing cries and hooves no longer heard. Lost Faith. Da lifnei miata omed. Know whom you stand before. When we went to temple on Sabbath and holy days, inscribed in gold letters above the ark shone those Hebrew words, while the men, including, unforgivably, my father, discussed business, the weather, and the likely soccer result of the home team that day. The sacred text hummed by the cantor was all but drowned by their animated conversations that paused occasionally for the Amidah, the standing prayer recited 3 times daily. Lord, open my lips and my mouth will sing your praises. And the mourner's Kaddish, with its magnetic somber tones and climactic blessed, praised, glorified, exalted, extolled, mighty, upraised, and lauded be the name of the Holy One. Blessed is he beyond any blessing and song, praise and consolation that are uttered in the world. Bombarded by the steady rumble of the men around me, my piety crumbled. For 14 years, the time Jacob labored to win his true love after cheating his twin of his birthright, I held fast to my indignation until scales began to slip away and I found myself like a fish embraced by water, the vibrant waters of that unnameable presence. Clay Spirit. Breakfasting, I feel a warm clay bowl of my mother's making cradling my fingers. Solidly thrown, her name etched on the bottom, the beige glaze reflects a range of creamy whites to speckled browns, just like her eyes. My hands rest on its generous rim. What feelings traveled through her hands to mine? What feelings traveled through her hands to mine? She who transmitted so much that I rejected and now hold sacred. Rattlesnake grass. You must have seen the dewy grasses dressed in June in gold, each twin top streaked with reddish-purple capes, each lush layered body tanned in tawny shades, and beside them soft ears of Venetian rose, hair like strands perched on willowy stems. A touch of swaying bells, faint rattling shakes, and you find the youthful wonder that sent you halfway around the world quite near, quite near. New leaf. I am silent, you are a leaf, your edges enfold me, my jade veins come to life. I am silent, you are a leaf, your edges enfold me, my jade veins come to life. I uncurl into your embrace, our lips meet, honey flows. I uncurl into your embrace, our lips meet, honey flows. On dropping a jar of honey. Faster than gravity it slipped and shattered on the stone floor, the jar my friend just brought all the way from Rochester. Her nose wrinkled, eyes widened, brow lines wriggled. My jaw dropped, I swallowed hard, stared at the ground, willing a crater to appear. When the real bombshell falls, my love's passing, shockwaves sweep my smithereened body along the moon's shores, until hunger finally drives me to a cellar where I discover stacks and stacks of your honey-filled jars waiting on the shelves. Riches in the night. In the middle of the night they banged on my door. It opened in the middle of that night to two well-built strangers. The taller, silver hair swept back, quietly spoke. You have an almost priceless cooking set that we have come to collect, to return to its rightful owner. In answer to my dazed looks, he crossed the room in a couple of strides and pulled out from under my bed 3 ceramic tureens. My mouth gaped, eyes burned at the ancient glazes drawn like veils. In the middle of that night, the taller said, "We will send them to the east where they will fetch a good price. You may keep the smallest for soups." His companion showed me a small mark in the sole of his shoe, then pointed towards my foot, and in the middle of that night made the same impression in my soul. This will serve as the key. So saying, they left, but by what means I do not know. Once your arched feet and limbs stretched to tease the ground, Your gesturing arms sang to the sky. The swish of your black skirt overturned my heart. But now they've wound themselves into a stranglehold around this tightened chest. Expel my breath, plough these barren furrows. Seven sisters light all my belly's sorrows. When will Orion sheathe his sharp sword that stabs so darkly in the night? Will the ocean waves bear my despair on their ceaseless slap and roll? Ah, but this salted grief has sweetened. The tears I pour taste more and more like seasoned wine. My love beyond. My love lives so far away, yet we share bare hearts along bared wires. Our whispered words balance perilously as starling silhouettes on wind-stripped lines. Couldn't you just travel there? I might. But a jealous lover cracked open our inner chambers, dispelling all dramas and reactions, changing our chemistry and composition into one lone cry. How can I explain? How can I explain that I still miss the curves of your loving arms where we whispered tender words? Your breasts that nurtured our bonny one for years? The hidden crevasses that opened with intimate glances, our ignited passions, the endless lapping gulf swaying under the moon's dark tides, fluctuating phases of silence, laughter, anger, pain, gushing, swelling, waning. Your so eloquent twist of lip, flashing eye, raised crescent brow. Although the mounds of your fertile earth dissolved ages ago, how can I explain? Drink my blood, Lord, after John Donne, 1572 to 1631. Drink my blood, Lord, turn it into the crimson red of a winter sunset. Strips of cerulean blue hang between darkening clouds. Deer hunger to feast on moonlight cast by cereal grasses. Cicadas sing their beloveds from timpani guts. How long can the moth hover and flutter? The bat weave and beat sonic airways before they collide? So drink my blood, Lord, let it seep swiftly into that deep violet sky until night begins to shine. Burning questions. Listen to the burning questions that sear, singe, scald, and scold. Are they a fiery or somber dance, begging for my feet to stomp the floor? A song curled tightly in my throat, wailing a few tentative notes, or a full-bellied lament? Glowing palette of yarn beckoning for a needle or loom? fallen trunk requiring mallet, chisel, sharp, smouldering eye, an impenetrable rock yearning to be struck and shaped, a trembling hand readying to strum in answer to my pounding heart. I become. And I become a child again among the grasses of towering oats and rye, Shasta daisies overhead, sharp lavender within fingers' reach, a forest of lush leaves. As a bumblebee whirls into tumbling pollen, cupful after cupful, reels into a spider's web, sheer weight until it frees itself to go on foraging. Sheened ladybugs scuttle up and down stems on six-wheeling spindles. Shiny beetles sprawl on broad green plains. A tiny spider huddles, while an orange-tipped spider moth stalks. Beyond the buzzing, the air thickens with beaks and twitters. Won't we all meet sometime, somewhere? Will I tumble gladly into your arms, belly, jaw, skin? And what then? First and last. My words spill out like sharp rocks the first time we meet. I stumble and bleed. We climb meadow slopes, uncover love in bloom, make daisy chains. Years later in that one call, we pick up the grey mountain shot with blue of our panic and distress. Now shadows beseech about a crescent moon. Your laughter's waned, and I must carry on. Your laughter's waned, and I must carry on. Wild grasses. This hermit watches sheets of mist sweep across the yard, hears the rain drip. He listens inside. The hurt of feeling alone has ripened to embrace large-eyed does who come closer, chew juicy wild oats. He dreams of scything the overlong bowed grasses, and when it's his call, wishes to go as graciously as their seeds born on the wind. And when it's his call, wishes to go as graciously as their seeds born on the wind. Where I dwell. Yellow monkey flowers and purple beard tongues spring between dark red rocks in an ancient wall. My limbs reach through those vast grained surfaces only to return again. Nests perch now full, now emptied of fledgling dreams flitting out on flashing wings. And once the chirping ceases, my heart takes off, following the swift's path. The wind's reflection pale, sunlight spikes surprise, a sweep of love, and all words wilt before my crumbling mind. A sweep of love, and all words wilt before my crumbling mind. Architect. Clambering around her main frame, she lays crossbeams across each arterial ray. They come out of her core as she slithers first one way, then another, checking all crossing points. Such silky light, her structure reflects the sun. She freezes at a sudden tug, curls up like one of her catches, then dives to the center. Her temple swings elegantly in the breeze, 2 long guy ropes anchored to a fence, 2 to the rose that fills her net with aphids. Her legs sweep side to side, torso tilts as she dances in tighter rings, feet nimbly feeling each tie, each struts in place. I hear the click of spinnerets as my lifelines too are set. Blazing trees. You have only to see the blazing sunset through the trees to be in that dazzling presence and catch a voice saying, "Take off your masks, take off your masks." With a clatter they land all around, but you barely notice, because the fire in your heart is bursting toward that bright glow on the horizon. Yes, the fire in your heart is bursting toward that bright glow on the horizon. And when its last glimmering rays are gone from human sight, you're left with a gateway. You're left with a gateway that will open even in your dark hour. Harp. My palm brushes against last year's lily of the Nile. Its stems vibrate like a muted harp, to which goldfinches in a nearby bush sing and jump. Teen outline. Suddenly the outline of the person on the phone, once clear and distinct, seems blurred and out of sync. She stands there before me, lips pattering, body jiggling, voice skydiving as I rub my eyes in disbelief. "Dad, come and see," has set like a sun, and this awesome being now won't be pigeonholed as she cheerily waves goodbye, blowing a kiss, starts the engine of my heart sputtering, and revving drives off into her own life. Opening to a dance. Pulled between a lull after lunch or plunging to the next task, I make myself wait. Did my ancestors not sing thanks in the shade of noon? I inwardly begin to chant, "Eina, eina, he, eina, eina, he." Curled leaves fly into my lap, while silhouetted on the ground a dance is going down, shimmering, whirling, flourishing, swirling. Eina, eina, he, eina, eina, he. Chiseled faces surface, dark-skinned, brown eyes twinkling, shadowed feet rising and turning in shafts of light. Ena, ena, he, ena, ena, he, ena, ena, he. Twin sheep. My new neighbour was wheeled in at 3 a.m, babbling and unwell. He turned the TV on loud. I fumed and cursed. A nurse gave me some plugs. How we snored like two grizzled old sheep bedded in a pen. Small comforts. At the end of the ward's long corridor, the radiator knobs glow amethyst as I struggle towards them with my catheter stand. Their warmth pulls me along to where the pine's spiraling needles splash against the large window. Somewhere I know the knobs are plain chrome, but I prefer to bear this precious image that draws me slowly there. Inbox. O Lord, let me not be just a window in your daily schedule as so often you are in mine. Rather, I beg, let me occasionally at least be an empty inbox for your messages, however inconvenient following them may prove to be. Grounded. My cat catches up, makes a sound, rolls onto his side on the dark ground, motioning to be stroked. Sprawling and turning, he draws me down from the plots and plans fiercely droning inside, back to the soles of my feet. Ears prick up, his body follows like a tuft of snaking fur, leaving me free to wade through waves of crickets and scented evening air, while a half-moon arches her back to Venus, both close enough to touch, casting light among the shadow clusters. At Wild Flower. There is a bakery nearby, where drawn by warm aromas, people enter to watch the bread makers up to their elbows in dough. Now and then one dives into the oven with a long paddle to load the waiting trays with steaming loaves. What if time were such a loaf, and each slice tasted both sweet and sour, tinged like a sunset with apricot orange and cranberry red, dotted with poppy seed clouds and cardamom sprinkles. Each bite oozed rosemary thyme, every mouthful secreted smooth and grainy textures. And what if I were to treat time as elastic as dough? Each hour, each moment, stretching, leavening, like their humblest bread. Reflection. Sounds of hooting laughter leap up the path. High-pitched yelps issue from my daughter's mouth as he chases her towards the house. Chatter and banter fill the kitchen, overflow the rooms, while they cook, tease, and joke following the recipe steps. 1. Mince onion. How? What size do they mean? 2. Dry spinach. With what? Resting in an easy chair, I catch sight, reflected in a window, a tender kiss. Poetry can't. Poetry can't catch the bullet leaving the gun, though she might. She takes me on flights, lands on scorched runways, shudders and shakes up all my beliefs. Poetry won't stop me stumbling in the dark, though she may. She'll croon in the night to my twin longing and grief. Poetry may not sate the starving, though she might. She wakes me to my own hunger, leavens the bread, kindles irresistible scents. She unleashes a pent-up panther, shows me a way out of clawing despair, leads me through her music to dance. Within easy reach. Phosphorescent yellow, far side in shadow, golden apples hang ready on the three-pronged tree, clustered like grapes under its rusty canopy. And what of my own life's fruit? This is the season still for harvesting those years of tears, frosts of anger, shines of laughter. This is the season still for harvesting those years of tears, frosts of anger, shines of laughter that tempered and ripened each golden delicious, now at last within easy reach. Rippling and astir. There's a rippling in the air, stealing across the hillside. Misty sheets slant and race towards this terrible first. All green things are dressed in see-through pearls. Droplets pounce, bounce, polka dance on wooden posts. Rushing, shimmering bush and tree, limbs flap, sway, opening to volleys intensity, a hushed, soaring roars. What my two eyes see. A film of early Proterozoic life, brown blobs and tails swirl in a clouded ring. Up they slowly rise and fall again, circumscribed by the boundaries of my aging eyes. But how the birds now sing! But how the birds now sing! Evening swell. Hazelnuts are plumping, their magenta-hued husks crowned by a crest. See the squirrels secrete them long before they're ripe for you and me. Raindrops and robins alight trigger a trickle in the roadside creek, while fresh green pine tips lean over a ditch of dock, dandelion, wild peppermint. All hangs on the swell of trills and song in these burgeoning woods. All hangs on the swell of trills and song in these burgeoning woods. Songster. O sweet loquacious songster, I am your eager ear riding your streams and trills. Be my companion, so once your notes have risen beyond range into silence broken only by a breeze weighing on the leaves, I will not forget my pledge made during your ecstatic bursts. Sing to me, sing, so my heart may turn in twilight's ebb, and through the night be drawn along liquid ways, until your dawn song breaks its banks again. Little bird. There is nothing more precious than the little cage bird in our heart. It is desperately flapping its wings against our cold bars, dying to dip and dive, even to hesitate in midair, before singing its song, trilling its notes, knowing all creation's molecules here. There is nothing more precious than this little bird in our heart. They rise. They rise and melt, their great wings glinting in the sun as they sense the airways and follow, now this way, now that. They aren't flying in line, more like a flowing seawards, dissolving into purple cloud. More like a flowing seawards, dissolving into purple cloud. To sight. O glory be to sight for the play of sun on hazy trees, April yellow greens, shadows, lays, and still striped bands as sparrows and woodland birds edge morning on. Traffic roars soak into quiet hills. Flowering periwinkle tumbles down the banks into morning moistened grass. The chorus builds, and I am happy to be part of it, though one eye fails. Thanksgiving. The little ones skip from twig to tree to tree to twig invisibly fast, while overhead a large one soars. Beneath black and white feathered stripes, dash of yellow flashes. Among wilting flowers, legumes, and fruits, the little ones busily twitter, skirt, and scoot about this season of seeds, signaling it is nearing Thanksgiving. Breath of eucalyptus inhales, while blue jay hoarsely proclaims, it's always Thanksgiving, it's always Thanksgiving. What will remain? Everything will be snatched out of our limbs as the fall winds breeze, tease, tug, and swell, remorselessly tearing our leaves of money, shredding our looks and bodily sheaths. What's left in the land? Only the roots and ripples of our laughter, troughs of tears, the draughts of love that we bring. So now it is fall, leaves fly, fly to the earth, and when our need is to cling, aren't we held in embrace by pattering rain? For in the fragile ribbed web of our being, all is dissolving, only the core remains. Frida Kahlo's Self-Portrait with Monkeys. Their dark eyes are filled with questioning innocence. Hers are weary and aching. Their small hands grip her blouse. An arm clasps her neck as if they too understand the weight of great sadness. Half hidden by lily leaves, they squat and stand with momentary restraint. Her body knows that the bird of paradise will wilt, die, and come again, that her white-fronted monkey friends will burst into cacophonous chatter, and that they'll vanish through the shaking, screeching treetops as suddenly as they appeared. This fragrant flame is her one hope, so she carefully braids and ties her thick black hair above her ashen face, propels herself to the easel, toward the blank canvas that has waited through the long tremulous night for a blood infusion from her molten depths. This pain of parting. You jump on everything I say. The air runs rancid. We wish for one more pleasant time, but it's lost among the rocks. Stranded whale, lashing tail, your pleading eyes, this pain of parting. Towards last summer's end, jet-black forces erupted from your being, scalding our skins. Wounded whales, tails lashing, eyes pleading, this pain of parting. Now we've just spent 3 weeks basking in each other's presence. I lack all elegance and clap my demons on to hasten the moment. Stranded whale, lashed tail, pleading eyes, this pain of parting. Narcissus. I will get me to the bottom of the hill, heaviness clawing at my belly, to smell the narcissus rose, a dull whiff. I may see the first wild berry flowers, smouldering, a red tail perched on power lines, shackled wings, spying out prey, wild glowering, white plum blossom spills, spewing fumes, scents onto the road, suffocating those I love. I'll dally under the canopy of fresh green oak, wallow in the mud, listening to the murmur of amber leaves, savour simmering moans of my ghosts. I'll chat with each neighbour I meet, every neighbour I'll greet, about this and that, with a chameleon's mask, Arriving home, return in a funk, view the ebbing colours of our sun, my colour drains, while a cooing dove and children's cries into a sty of boiling darkness fill the early evening air. I'll gaze with fresh eyes, a pained stare at the delicate lines on the calla lily's face, furrows my brow, seeing her spiraling sisters unfurl, catching myself so snagged, I'll hitch my hands to 2 trash cans, drag my well-tended load, towing them back along the pebble drive, the yoke and the goad, and stretch my neck to watch, crane to catch, the pygmy nuthatch tunnelling for grubs, a glimpse of anything else. When I reach those narcissus, yes, anything else, kneeling, I will bury my nose and rise with heaven's touch, but my own fallen, terrifying beauty. Day's End. Fetching the empty garbage cans, I watch the entire sky turn into a pair of thick indigo wings, crowned by the tufts of a great horned owl, her barred belly brooding over the day's end, hatches moonlit dreams of all I ditch and dump. Who speaks to the trees? 3 massacres have I witnessed. Our 1-legged cousins lie sprawled on our mother's dusty face. Yet I hear you. I hear you. I hear you weeping, bleeding, uprooted. For 100 years you faithfully gave your quenching fruit, shelter and shade to all who came. For 100 years you faithfully gave your life-quenching fruit, shelter and shade to all who came. Commit genocide? Not the bulldozer driver. His kids need clothing and feeding. Nor the compadres hammering stakes and setting irrigation for the new cash crop. Ellos tienen familias y obligaciones. They have families and obligations. Nor the owners who believe a coastal touch of fog perfect for these grapes will soon play upon our lips. And so, dear mother, what can I say to you? How can I make amends? How? Necklaces. You scatter your finest necklaces across the sky, dewdrops deftly hung on spider strands, pearls dazzling patches of night. Thousands of crickets chorus up to the lights, bathing the listener in a thickness of sound as refreshing as a season's first swim. How long have I been lulled and cosseted by the World Wide Web, paying only lip service to your gems? How long have I been lulled and cosseted by the World Wide Web, paying only lip service to these gems? in my blood. Running rivulets gushing wild, swollen bubbling streams, water whirls patterned like much mended fishermen's nets, fingerprint swirls. Can we too be the rain, falling down from dark clouds, knowing not where or how we'll land? Can we too be the rain, falling down from dark clouds, knowing not where or how we'll land? A Rock by Walker Creek. Small white flowers flourish on your face, sheltered by your monumental arms. A vine clambers along your crevasses. On your leeward side, stained ochre, orange, white and green create a sandstone sculpture blending with the scape. White clouds twist and unfurl past a pale crescent moon. Ever unwinding coastal curls hover above a lone dark silhouette, skimming the greened oak and coyote bush-clad hills. A confluence of silences, leaves of three bud in the breeze. Rifts and splits birth your offspring scattered on the slopes. Golden poppies and rosemary adorn your soft grass hair. On this January day, under clear sky, rhythmic movement swells the sea, woven beds of kelp bob and sway. An ozone-laden breeze sails over the green and rusty ice plants perched on sandstone, while gull shadows clip the cliff tops. Cascades and cataracts meet and overwash mussel-covered rocks. Cormorants on ledges eye the tidal splash, churning waters scoop and crash in the fierce heave of this perpetual outpouring. Churning waters scoop and crash in the fierce heave of this perpetual outpouring. Naked oak. My gnarled stumps expose vast sky, one limb points cloudward, a frozen lightning fork. Across my body spread green and grey-white lichen. Old man's beard dangles on my few branches. My underside teems with fungal tribes, loosened bark, softness crumbles. Wind whips willow sprigs, swarming blackberry vines, purple leaves of poison oak, scented honeysuckle twines, brown stems of becoming pink flowers. All bound in spring's bright tunic, while I bend closer, closer to the ground, readying to receive me, unadorned, open-armed. The Brook's Song to Spring. I stumble and slip-slide, spout and leap, white crest unbridled by winter rains, curdle and slip-slap, hurtle and skid, down a hail of rocks that clatter and echo my clamouring chant. Come, come, bustles the burbling brook, churning under winter's smitten branches. Green fresh burstings hover, lilting wings stream in the sun's drowsy beams. Catkins sloop festooned with yellow pollen caterpillars. My surging shadow seeps into the shadows of winged willows' sauntering dance, throat-opening buds, excited yelps, humming wheels speeding. Spread-eagled on the road beside, wings close, unfold, squeeze shut, spring open. Esme, straddling her wooden two-wheeler, spies the note-plucker, looks and laughs. You have funny eyebrows. Yes, they got funnier as I grew older. Bye, she warbles, bye, Englishman, and paddles along with her feet beneath buckeye, willow, bay, and oak. Contagion bubbles, shadow light ripples. Where my reeling? Where my whirling? My gurgling vigour jingle dingles, down the downy, down by the down. I follow the hawk's lone cries to rootlets, adumbrel young ferns unfurling. The wood rat's elaborate branch den, ant, weevil, worm, thread my way past mossy logs. Woodpecker's nests, rampant ivy, cow parsnip, leaping brambles, dark green, radiant thistles. I gush along my banks with a skipping song, while forget-me-nots tuck themselves in ditches, dock and plantain spawn in rills. Shrills rise on pennyroyal's sharp aroma, hazel one's leaves thrust from hidden eyes. Coral bells awkwardly slip out, shadows flail across puddles, graceful vultures circle. My simmering sap swirls its way through your sap. Perfume. This spirit breath leaves and enters quite unbidden. Travelling light, it bears only essence. Let this perfume soak in your warmth and pleasantness, each day and night of our microscopic life. Let this perfume soak in your warmth and pleasantness, each day and night of our microscopic life. Earth. Each square inch a harmony of the dying, the dead, the living, and the being born. By the shores of the sea. By the shores of the sea, waves pounding in glee, your sounds showed me how to dance. A jig reeling inside, you made me step to your time, didn't care how I looked to passers-by. Playing to a hidden song, your crashing waves brought along. By the shores of the sea, waves pounding in glee, your sounds showed me how to dance. A jig reeling inside, you made me step to your time, didn't care how I looked to passers-by. Whirling round, round and round, lifted up and then plunged down, playing to a hidden song, your crashing waves brought along. By the shores of the sea, waves pounding in glee, your sounds showed me how to dance. A jig reeling inside, you made me step to your time, didn't care how I looked to passers-by. Reaching out and reaching in, your silent song set me in spin, whirling round, round and round, lifted up and then plunged down, playing to a hidden song your crashing waves brought along. By the shores of the sea, waves pounding in glee, your sounds showed me how to dance. A jig reeling inside, you made me step to your time, didn't care how I looked to passers-by, didn't care how I looked to passers-by. Soak up. Soak up my harmful thoughts, wash them clean in morning mist, as redwood needles turn fog into bountiful streams. The apple trees lean, but my thoughts lean even further. I'm swayed by currents and waves of feeling wronged. Vultures perch on limbs until this fog rises, and my heart is beside them, shivering in the cold. How can I find the sun inside, so when the mist spirals away and vultures dry their great wings, I too will lift up into day? Soak up my harmful thoughts, weave them into the fleeing mist, so my wings might stretch and soar into this abundant day.
Try